Double.
I'm hustling. She's hustling.
That's how it's
Let's go. We're all going to
Now we started a short business. Now I'm just a lowly employee. I can cause grief. What do you mean? Start causing grief? Start causing grief. Yeah. So, don't do that.
Good evening. We are now going to call the School Board of Education meeting to order. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Mrs. LeVar, would you please guide us through the pledge?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mrs. LeVar.
You're welcome.
Okay. And I don't see any public comment cards for this evening. So I will turn it over to you for our presentation, Superintendent Wonders.
Thank you very much, Madam President. My distinct pleasure to introduce our brand new District Athletic Director, Mr. Austin Green, and Mr. Rich Cross to present the annual 2026 District Athletic Update. Gentlemen, the floor is yours.
All right, so for those of you who don't know, I'm Austin Green, new athletic supervisor for the district. Here to give you guys an update on our athletic programs. So first, introduction, Rich Cross, he's our district middle school AD. Kristen Palek will be his athletic secretary. Me as the new athletic supervisor, and then my secretary, Lisa Marilyn. All right, so year in review. Last year, our theme was compete. And we'll talk about, we have a different theme for this year. So year in review, Shad Spilsky left to go to Kansas and join his wife down there, so we're very happy for him. I got hired as the athletic supervisor. We'll talk about some accomplishments, booster club update, and some of the facility upgrades that we've done. So accomplishments, our girls soccer won the SVL championship. They came up here a month or so ago, and we celebrated that. Bella Saro won the SVL bowling championship. It's her second year in a row, and she's a junior, so we still have one more year. She also made the state finals, along with Luke Mines, who's a freshman in our high school. We had a couple wrestlers, Jace Fuller, Connor Hazlitt, Braylon Wojciechowski, and Richard DeMar that made the wrestling finals. Jace took second. The other two did not place, and Richard took 8th. So we had 2 heavyweight wrestlers that placed and were all state. And Jax Turner made the state finals for high jump. So big thing up there is there's only 2 seniors, so we have a lot of youth, a lot of young kids coming up that are really going to help our athletic program. And then Zane Sanchez, he was a state champion and national champion power lifter. So big stuff. He was here on the board, celebrated him. He's a great kid, multi-sport athlete, and he's back out playing football this year, so we're excited about that as well. So I'll turn it over to Rich for our middle school athletics and review.
Thanks, Coach. Good evening, everybody. So some highlights this year for middle school. We hosted the 2025 GFMSL Middle School Cross Country League Championship that we have for several years now over at CFI. We have 17 teams in our middle school. It's a mix-up, a combination of the SVL South and the Flint Metro, so there are 17 schools in that league. There are over 500 student athletes running the race with 4 different races mixed in, and over 1,000 spectators attending the event. So it's a great way for us to show off our facilities over at CFI. Our coaches do an excellent job. John McCready, Kevin Baginski, they take time off, they put their own personal time into it. They're even mowing the course themselves sometimes, so they put a ton of work into it, a ton of effort into it, and it shows. It's a pretty big undertaking. They do an excellent job when you get it down to the science, and because of that, most of the other schools in the league are like, you go ahead and just hold on to it. Okay, we'll do it. And it's a great way for us to raise some money for our cross-country program to be able to buy uniforms. Recently, a large 10 by 20 tent with our district logo and branding on it, so it's just a good event all the way around. We've seen increased participation numbers across most of our sports. I hope to see those continue to increase this upcoming year. Also, we'll kind of go over a little bit of data there at the end of the presentation. An increase in number of kids who are trying out for sports, not that we want to make cuts or have to make cuts, but the fact that we have an increased interest is important for us. And we've also done some things like we started a middle school dance team, started a 6th grade cheer club that we're looking to expand to all middle school kids. So that way if we have some cuts made, they have some opportunities to still be involved, not necessarily competing in league tournaments or league meets, but they have the ability to still have a positive connection or an active role in being part of the Lightning Athletics program just at the club level. We continue to implement our 6-12 vision across all of our sports programs and really focusing on, if you are the pure Lightning student athlete, here's what it looks like. Not just if you're a football player, here's what it looks like, here's what it looks like if you're part of the volleyball program. Again, we really worked hard to have our varsity coaches be involved at the middle school level, running camps, attending practices, kind of mentoring, kind of cleaning up, as we say, their sub-varsity coaches. So we're excited to see that continue for this upcoming year as well. Something we implemented this year was after-school weightlifting on Mondays and Wednesdays at Zemmer. It started back in November and it ran every Monday and Wednesday up until the last week of school. We saw pretty good numbers, especially when there was the downtime between seasons. We had a lot of kids that were playing sports that were in season, so we saw the numbers a little bit. But again, when we weren't actually in season practicing or playing games, we were averaging a little over 20 kids on Mondays and Wednesdays in the weight room. So it was pretty exciting to see that kind of vision that we had last year is starting to come to fruition, and we're going to continue to work and improve that a couple different ways. And something we did this summer, not necessarily more so than other summers, but I think we did a good job or a better job promoting it, was all the summer programming that we offered. And also we'll get into the process part of this here in a little bit, but we really want our kids to embrace kind of that process mindset and be process driven. If you play volleyball, it's a winter one sport at middle school level, right? It goes from mid-October, we're done with Christmas break. If the next time you think about volleyball or pick up a volleyball the following October, we're failing them, again, as athletic directors and as coaches. So we're offering camps, a lot of off-season stuff we're doing. That's just an example of how a number of our programs are really focusing on that process-driven, that process mindset. Obviously, we want to win, we want to be competitive, and that comes with that. If you're following the process, and the process is well designed, it's well implemented, you're following through on it, and you're taking feedback into account, making it better, the outcomes typically are going to get better. You're moving in the positive direction, you're going to win games, you're going to win league titles and things like that. But the middle school especially, when you're not winning districts and the state titles, we're focusing really on the process. It's just kind of a little cut up of all the different things we offered this summer, from gymnastics, volleyball camp, football camp. Cross country's got back today from their camp. Cheer put out a couple different camps. There was open mats for wrestling and some other things that didn't quite make it into the collage up there that again were put on this summer, just in an effort to get our middle school kids engaged, get them out here, get them thinking about sports, and really start embracing that kind of, that there is no off season, so to speak, mindset. Not that they don't have a summer and they don't get a chance to relax and things like that. They do, but we want them thinking about competing, engaging in that process, again, on a regular basis, not just that 6, 8, 10 weeks when they're in the season.
Hey, Rich, do you have,
Yes.
do you happen to have a picture of the middle school weight room in here?
Oh, it's in there.
All right.
It's in there.
Well, I just wanted to interject real quickly before Austin reassumes the podium. It's a rare thing to have a robust after-school weightlifting program at the middle school level. I appreciate Rich's humility and not mentioning his personal role in that, but literally it doesn't happen without Rich Cross. He was cleaning weights, moving weights, organizing the physical setup of the room. He was the primary driver behind the idea, the implementation, the construction, the design of it. Oh, and by the way, he's the one getting the kids there, lifting with them and doing that. So that is what we would define as above and beyond the call of duty as a middle school athletics supervisor director. But the fact that you can get kids thinking about commitment of training in the off season, mid season, they have to have a person and a place to do it. And that person is Rich, and that place was that weight room. And I'm telling you, I've been part of athletics for almost 30 years, and public schools, and I have never seen a middle school weight room and a program with that much excitement of young athletes lifting weights. So I just wanted to say thank you publicly for Rich and all of his efforts in that regard. Thank you.
All right, so we have a great booster club. They do a great job fundraising, and they really helped out our athletic program. So this year they gave $48,000 through our high school, middle school teams, $15,000 towards the weight room, 8 $500 scholarships, and then $2,000 scholarships to our male and female athletes of the year. They raise funds through Lightning Field Day, which is this Saturday. If you guys have some free time, it's pretty cool. A lot of kids in the community come out. Each varsity sport has a station set up that they can, kick a soccer ball, throw a football, play lacrosse, bounce houses, food. It's a really cool event and a really good fundraiser for them. They also run concession stands and do some spirit sales. So they do a great job, and we're thankful for them. All right, so focus of 26-27 school year. We're going to the process, and Rich kind of touched on that, and we'll go more into depth in that in the next slide. We have a few new coaches, some updates on our league, middle school athletics, strength and conditioning, and some athletic data at the end. So the process. We're kind of sitting down and talking, what do we need to do? And we need to focus on the little things, the process, doing things the right way. And a couple of these quotes kind of sum it up. Winning is important. And we'd be failing our athletes if we told them that winning isn't important. But the journey required to become a winner is even more important. So that's the little things, showing up every day, getting better in the weight room, speed and agility at practice. And the pursuit of winning teaches lessons that teaches lessons that last far beyond the scoreboard. And that's how we came up with the process. So Rich will talk a little bit more about how we incorporated that in the weight room. So some equipment and facility updates. Volleyball got new jerseys this year. Football got new jerseys, and freshmen and JV basketball got new jerseys as well. We have some pictures of that. We're in the process of updating our baseball scoreboard with the help from Jim Real. We had a field density test done on our turf field over at CFI. The guy who tested it said it's in great shape. We've done a really good job at taking care of it, so we're happy to hear that. It is in year 11. It typically lasts to about year 15, so it is nearing the end, but it's in really good condition. And then the last thing is our weight room, which Rich has pictures and we'll touch on. Football jerseys, we went with a dark gray for our home, and the volleyball girls went with the Kelly green. So a few pictures of new jerseys. New coaches, varsity soccer coach, Duncan Raleigh, a lifetime Lapeer guy, played for Lapeer East. He's been coaching our girls and our JV boys for a long time. We're really excited to have him. He's starting up a youth soccer Lapeer program that they used to have. That's really going to be a great feeder program for the soccer program. So Deanna Mahalik will be our new cheer coach. She's been in the district coaching middle school. She knocked it out of the park this summer. She was at a lot of weightlifting and speed and agility sessions. She had her girls practice in the morning, come lift at night. So she did a great job. And then Bob Bridges, we just hired him as our girls varsity basketball coach. So we hired him about midsummer, just getting going with those girls. We're really excited to have him. SBL update. So if you guys haven't heard, Davison and Grand Blanc are leaving our conference. They will be in the conference this year, but 26-27 school year, they'll be going down to the Oakland League. So what will that look like for us? Football is going to be split into enrollment. So we'll be in the bigger enrollment with Saginaw Heritage, Traverse City Central, Traverse City West, Midland Dow. So we'll be making a trip up to Traverse City at least once every year. The smaller enrollment league will be Flint Powers, which is coming back into the conference for football. Carmen Ainsworth, Bay City Central, Bay City Western, Saginaw United, and Mount Pleasant. What does it look like for the rest of the sports? We're still not completely sure. We had an AD meeting on Tuesday, and we're trying to figure out if we're going to split into North and South or go to an all-league schedule where we're playing everyone in the North. So still deciding on how that's going to shape up. All right, Rich will give an update on the athletics for middle school.
Okay, so everyone's aware, we obviously are going to be a 6th, 7th, 8th grade middle school starting in 27-28. We realigned this year to a traditional 7-8, which was great having this past year, having all the student athletes except for a handful of 6th graders in the same building, under the same roof. If someone was having a grade issue, maybe a behavior issue, I could easily have access to them as opposed to having to get in the truck, drive across town, go to RW, and have a conversation with that student. So I think that was a big improvement for us, helped us really kind of cultivate and continue to kind of mold that culture we want with our student athletes at the middle school level. So again, we anticipate that getting even better when the 6th graders are also in the building with us. We're returning approximately 18 coaches from last year. It's roughly 2/3. A couple of those coaches that aren't returning are actually, for example, Deanna was middle school sideline cheer. She became a varsity cheer coach this year. So some of those coaches that aren't returning are actually moving up to the high school or the varsity level. So we're still keeping them in the program. They're just moving on from the middle school level. So I think a big part of why we've been able to have the success we have, not necessarily wins and losses, but again, with all the things we offer, going back to that process, all the summer stuff we can offer is we have had a decent amount of retention year to year with our coaches at the middle school level. I think it's been pretty key for us. We've obviously upgraded the weight room. There's pictures here. That's the next slide we'll talk about. This year, we're going to continue to do after-school weightlifting on Mondays and Wednesdays. We're going to have fall sports. It's a pretty busy time for me. A lot of games on Mondays and Wednesdays, so we have staff, PE teachers, things like that. We're going to cover the weight room for the fall, and we'll kind of take a look at it season to season and get them in there, get the right person in place, and make sure we're kind of keeping, some continuity and keeping that after-school program alive, so that way kids are able to have access after school. Something that I'm really excited about, something we've kind of been a vision for a couple of years now, and we're actually able to bring this to fruition, is we'll be offering 4 sections of athletic enhancement for 7th and 8th grade student athletes this upcoming school. Approximately 100 kids. It's going to be 2 sections each semester. We went through and looked at those student athletes, looked at which sports they played, and then we put them in there either first or second semester based on when they were in season. So for example, if they're a football player or a wrestler, or if they're girls basketball, volleyball, those are first semester sports. We put them into athletic enhancement during first semester because they're in season, they're going to practice right after school, they're going to have a window to get that after school lifting while they're practicing. So that being said, when they're not playing sport in the winter or the spring, expectations, hey, you're in here after school with me, and vice versa. If they were, let's say, baseball or track, or maybe they were boys basketball, softball, second semester sports, they're going to have athletic enhancement during second semester. So it's going to be Ron Shook who's going to be teaching that. He's working with Eric Henzel, who teaches at the high school, to kind of make sure we have a line kind of scaled down for the middle school level version of athletic enhancement for a student athlete. So pretty excited about that. Pretty excited to see how that's going to turn out, and hope to continue to grow that and grow those sections for the upcoming years down the line. So again, continue to focus on the process. If lifting and strength and conditioning is something that only a certain sport does, it becomes kind of a stigma. Or sometimes it's, well, if I play this sport, I gotta lift, I gotta do all this, but I don't have to do it if I do this. And that's really been our focus is if you're a lightning student athlete, you're gonna lift, you're gonna come to speed and agility. You're going to take every advantage that you can to become a bigger, faster, more explosive athlete. That looks a little bit different at the middle school level and the varsity level, obviously. But again, if we kind of get our hooks into them, we're going to kind of fall in love and embrace that process at the middle school level. It's just kind of add another brick and a brick and a brick as they start getting older, as opposed to having to build it from scratch when they're a junior. So we're really excited about what that's going to look like moving forward. And of course, it would be complete about season. So put some signage up. We've got the Zeus, the Lightning Strong sign back. We've got some more signage that's going to go above these walls to kind of make it a visually appealing place. Custodial maintenance did an excellent job last summer with cleaning that place up, painting it. It looks great in there. So again, it looks like a dungeon or a basement. Kids probably aren't going to want to go in there. So we got to give it a due diligence because there are no exterior windows. It's got to be a bright, inviting space. Get the colors up there, get the branding up, so it's important that it's visually appealing. So it's just kind of some other pictures there. We were able to fundraise some money. We got a bunch of new dumbbells and some racks over here. That way we can do stations, and it gets a little cramped with 24 kids in there, but we got kids in the racks, kids in the dumbbells. Get a movement, you have stuff over here where they're doing like, deadlift, hip hinge type stuff over here. So it's a smaller space, but we try to maximize it to the degree that we can. So again, we're excited about having that during the day. We're going to continue to have the after school lifting, and then, Brandon Fisher, who teaches PE, is also implementing it to a small degree in his PE classes as well. So pretty excited for the things that are on the horizon for our middle school student athletes. And that's just a shirt we got any kid that showed up this spring. Got a Lightning Strong, kind of the branding out there. You didn't see a t-shirt. Oh, looks pretty sweet. How'd you get it? I go to the weight room. Oh, cool. Okay, and you'd be surprised how psyched kids get over a $7 t-shirt. So
Everybody gets excited for a t-shirt. You get your t-shirts, I don't care if you're 50 years old.
very true.
You like
Right.
t-shirts?
I just think about going to the Lightning Strong. You gotta go to the weight room. You better get in the weight room.
Staying on the topic of strength and conditioning this summer, Rich, me, Eric Hensel, and Tony, group effort to have 3 different liftings. So we had like a beginner and intermediate lift, followed by an advanced lift, and then a female conditioning lift at the end. And I'll tell you, that place was rocking. We had it full. The music was cranked. We had a good time in there. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we did the strength training. And then Thursday was awesome. We went out to the field. We hired ETS. They're a company out of Oxford, and they did a great job with our athletes, teaching them how to run, jump, work in space, cut. So they tested our kids at the very beginning, and they tested them at the end, and each kid improved in at least one test. Most of them improved in every test that they did. So you could just tell the difference from the first week to the last week on how our kids were moving. So we really look forward to utilizing ETS again, because they just did a great job for us. So.
And a great turnout.
Yeah, great turnout. We have some numbers and slides, but this is on the turf. I think this is our first day. We had great middle school attendance. Our females did a great job all summer. And we had 100 kids out there on most days, 9 o'clock in the morning. So, cool picture. This is in the weight room, our advanced group with Coach Merlo. I ran the female conditioning at the end, and those girls, man, they worked harder than most of the guys there. So we had a good time. So we averaged 66 kids per day, and that could be, if all of our kids signed in, which we really tried to get them to, so it might be higher. But, given account that sometimes our volleyball had practice or games on days, our football team was gone for a week at camp, that kind of made the numbers lower than they actually were. So, like I said, ETS tested our kids, and every kid improved. So, and then our middle school attendance was great. So, really, we're excited for the future. We have a lot of kids in the high school that made the state tournaments that are underclassmen. Our youth numbers are really good, so we're excited about the future. Here's some numbers. So the class of 26 is our graduating seniors. We would like to see that number higher. We have a 23% participation rate. Class of 27 is our current seniors. And then you get into 28, 29, and 30, and our numbers are looking a lot better. So we're excited that they're all at the 38%. We have a lot of good kids in our building. So just some numbers over the years. Starts from 22, 24, 25, and then 26. So. All right, scholar athletes. Same thing. Class of 26 is our graduating seniors. 27 is our current seniors for this year. Good numbers for the scholar athletes. And then SVL scholar athletes, same thing. We have a lot of kids who are high achieving students. So we're happy on seeing these numbers. You have to have 3.3 or higher to be in the SVL scholar athletes. So. And then last is our male multi-sport athletes. So, we're right at that 50% mark of our athletes being multi-sport athletes, and we love to see kids playing multiple sports. So our females are right in the 40 to 50% on multi-sport athletes. So always looking to improve, but we're pretty happy on our multi-sport athletes. Rich?
Notice that if you're wondering why the class of 2032 is lower, those are now going to be 7th graders, so in 6th grade, they're only able to run track, do wrestling, or do cross country. And at the 6th grade level, so they are going to look kind of artificially inflated, even though you'll see them jump up quite a bit when they're 7th graders.
And then last thing that we forgot to put in the slide is we are going back to the big house for the first game of the football season. So we were down there earlier today with the Michigan folks and all the other schools getting a tour, explaining all the logistics. So we're excited to be back down there August 27th, and then we have games the 28th and 29th too. So 7 games. It's a great fundraiser for us. So we're excited to be back there.
So here versus Holly, August 27th at 7 p.m. Correct?
7 p.m.
At the big house.
Yep.
So did you take over the SPS or SEL
I did not.
executive director?
No, the Bay City Western principal is taking over.
Cool.
I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
What's going on with the supervision in the weight room? Is that still a thing where you guys are making sure that there's adequate supervision while the athletes are in there? Like not just one of you, but is there multiple?
Yep.
Multiple people? Okay.
So we had 2 in each, at least 2 supervisors in each weightlifting, and then multiple coaches were in there as well.
Good, that's great to hear. I know that you talked about the turf being okay. Try telling that to a football parent the kid comes home with a bunch of turf in their shoe, but whatever. Are there any plans to improve any of the fields for track? Notably the shot put and discus area and the long jump, because I know that during the spring, of course, spring is very hard, and those areas usually get flooded out first. Is there any plans in the future to improve, get a little bit more dirt or something to make it better? Because as a parent who has to trudge through that area, I mean, I'm so grateful that you guys put that one path out there and then it stops, and then you still gotta go through the mud or the snow or whatever it is. Is there any plans for doing anything along that fence line? Because I know that I've been at multiple events and they usually have a bleacher there for the discus and shot put. I was just curious if we have like a random bleacher somewhere that we could just throw there on the days that there's events going on. It just makes it difficult because you're soaked.
Yep. So we had a company come in and they jetted the lines. We had a blockage in one of the lines for the water to get away.
Okay.
So that should relieve some of the water issues. It's naturally really wet out there, but that's going to take all the water away from that long jump pit.
Okay, because I know the long jump was just filled.
Yeah, so one of the drainage pipes was clogged, so we got that fixed. So that should relieve the majority of the water issues. And we have been in talks with the track coaches, and we actually have a couple of drawings on how we can add a couple throwing pits and kind of make that a better venue. So it is, yes, in the talks and works.
Because if donations of dirt are needed, I'm sure you could get a lot of people and some
In Lapeer?
contractors could probably throw a couple of loads somewhere, right guys?
She looks right at you.
Isn't it interesting? Or parents, I'll buy bags at Home Depot. I mean, whatever to help improve that surface, because it just makes it really hard. And you know, our school looks so amazing when we're able to host all of these wonderful events, and then we've got this crappy little part over here that nobody wants to see. That was just one of my questions. So.
It's on the radar.
All right, thank you very much, Austin.
Any other questions?
I just have one real quick thing, and I'm always looking at ways to possibly improve that game time with some suggestions. And I think anything on this slideshow here would be awesome things to put on there as accomplishments, or talking about after school camps, or just anything other than kind of that. Another great song coming your way from. It's probably not as bad in the football season, but when you're lacrosse and you're the only, like,
Basketball.
there's 10 of you in the stands.
Yeah, we can, we have some ways to tweak. Yeah.
But I think anything on this slide talking about the accomplishments would be awesome and kind of get people going. But other than that, these are some awesome accomplishments with everything. So great job. You guys seem really enthused about taking it to the next level. So glad to see that.
One of the things we talked about in the spring was this idea that there's kind of this is different when I used to be an AD, Kim was an AD, we weren't dealing with this issue, but there's this culture now in high school sports where the students are actively involved in selecting music or choosing what music is played, and which I don't understand, because they listen to their music whenever they want, but who comes to watch the games are grandma and grandpa, mom and dad, your neighbor, aunts and uncles. Old people. I want to be a little bit experienced members of the family.
Experience. I like that.
And as far as the fan experience goes, you know, we want to hear music, and I include myself in that experienced group that we like, and that's actually good and entertaining. It doesn't contain every swear word in the alphabet and variations on a theme thereof. And so I think there are a number of companies. We actually work with one that produce you know, the safe versions of the songs. They have playlists, so if you wanted to hear, you know, for example, their genre, you know, 80s or 90s country, it will generate, so you're not having to create playlists and that kind of stuff. But I will say that as an athletic director, there's a lot that goes into game day management, right? From preparing the field to make sure all the things are out there, meeting and greeting officials, making sure you have volunteers like ticket takers and sideline help. The scoreboard works. You've got someone in the booth to run the scoreboard, and that's just before the whistle even blows, right? Then it's the actual management of fans and coaches and making sure that rules are being followed. And there's always issues with officials, fan behavior, and so there's a lot to manage. And sometimes when you're an AD and you're doing 3 and 4 games a week for years on end, the music and things like that kind of get lost in the white noise of just being in the stadium. And you do tend, to a certain degree, and this is no criticism, you go on autopilot a little bit, right? And so your ears aren't as in tune, not to mention when you're walking the hallways of a high school or middle school all day and that's your job. Let's just say there's a numbness to a certain degree of things that you may hear and come across, and you interact with young people very frequently, and I give our administrative staff a lot of credit, and our teachers as well, because you continually have to confront kids about their language and things they're listening to and how they treat one another. And then there's a component of that that's very important, I think, to our community, that we are correcting kids when it relates to that. This issue is compounded by the fact that students and oftentimes parents have an expectation that my student athlete wants to hear this kind of music before the game, and gosh darn it, they should be able to hear it. Austin, Chad, before his departure, and I have had many long talks about this, and I think we're leaning more towards this idea of the fan experience should be geared towards fans, and you have to appreciate the demographic of the people that you're catering to, because now at this point, when it turns into a game, now the customer is the fan. Right? During the day, when they are teaching kids and running the weight room and coaches are coaching, the customer is the student athlete. But the game day experience, the customer becomes the fan. They pay a ticket price, they come in, they want to have an experience. And part of that experience can sometimes be diminished if they're hearing music or they are running across things that don't necessarily comport with their values. So I think Austin has heard me speak on this enough in his early tenure as an athletic administrator to know what the expectation is, and I certainly will be listening.
So throw that list out now. Throw that playlist out, Austin. That's what he's trying to tell you. Yeah, start fresh.
I have one more question. How is it with the FanDuel as far as people getting ticked off and that we don't accept cash, and how is that feedback been from people?
It's getting better.
It is?
It's
Okay,
getting
good.
better. So as more schools go to that, more fans are okay with it. Our fans are pretty good now because they're used to it.
Sure.
And the whole SBL South is using it, so it's when we get a team from the Flint Metro or the North that they're not used to it, but more schools are going to it, so it's becoming less of an issue.
That's good, I'm glad to hear that, because I know it really helps out the people at the gate not having to worry about,
It take a lot.
I need change, or I got too much money here.
Are there still schools that take cash?
Yep.
I haven't been to a away game when it hasn't been used.
I was just gonna, I keep forgetting about our leader fund monitor that's at the door of the gym there.
Yeah.
We got that to do our partners, put our partner stuff up there, but then also for you guys to be able to utilize for whatever, if it's advertising all your camps, if it's advertising, hey, come to the gym or the weight room for a t-shirt, I don't know where all the instructions are and how to load, unload, all that fun stuff. But I know if you talk to Flem too, I'm sure he wants to get the leader fund stuff up and running about the partners again. But it's a great spot. It's kids see it a lot, and if it's active and moving through, then more kids will see that stuff that you guys want to see as well.
And we started, and we actually kind of added a college to our cafeteria. It's on you've seen it.
Yep.
All of our athletes who are currently on a college roster, and we had a lot of good feedback. People, away schools, away parents, they love coming in and looking at that, and we got a lot of praise for having that. Just from other fans, they just like looking at what athletes we have, and even guys they want to see who's been all state for the previous year. So we're working on kind of decorating that cafeteria to show off some of our.
I know Shad, we struggled with the instructions of loading up. Yeah, I don't know, maybe a smarter tech guy can figure it out. Exactly, that's what I was thinking. But I know that we forgot that really it's there, even from the leader fund standpoint. So I'm sure Flem would love to get it back up and powered up and rolling. So yeah, use it for your good, for your sake as well. So, but cool, great job, thanks guys.
Thank you. Great idea, guys. Thank you. Okay, we will head into our reports for this evening. We have the Finance and Operations Committee. Dr. Watson, would you please share us with your reports?
Sure, quick, find it.
How about I pull it up for you? It's right here.
Oh, thanks. What we got in there? It's only like 4 pages long.
He's helping you.
It's good to find it. All right, the Finance and Ops Committee met July 17th, 9:30 via Zoom. I was there, Summer Putnam and Lisa Novak. Others attending, Matt Wandry, Eric Engels, and Mary Moss. We discussed the 2026 Sand Bridge loan. Erica explained the need for a state aid note to cover school operations for an amount not to exceed $3 million. The committee was in consensus of recommending board approval at tonight's meeting. And then the sale of district property, Maple Grove. Matt Wandry discussed the purchase agreement for the sale of Maple Grove to JKT Technology LLC for $604,000 via land contract. As further details are received, they will be shared with the committee. It will be added to the August 5th board agenda for consideration, and then we adjourned at 9:52.
Any questions or concerns?
I have some questions. How many years is this land contract going to be in? How long is this land contract?
We're still negotiating it. And
Okay.
I'll have the land contract will be submitted for board review first to Finance and Ops. When it's been finalized and signed by both parties, it's yet to be signed.
Okay, so what are we voting on tonight?
That way.
Oh, we're not, oh,
It's going August.
okay. Today's August.
That was the plan, yeah.
That was the
Sorry,
plan.
We removed it from the agenda though.
Correct, it
Yeah.
got removed.
Yeah, it was our,
Okay.
It will be,
it was our hope to have it finalized by this meeting. but
Okay.
it-
How old is that building? What year was it?
Oh, I don't want to misquote, I don't know.
I do have that information.
Yeah, I'll get it to you. I don't know the exact year.
And I'm just curious what the acreage is and like, I'm just curious, they're getting a lot for $604,000, and I'm just curious, the acreage, how much are they getting? Because I know that we're trying to sell other buildings as well, and just curious of how we rate across the board with all of our other properties that we're trying to sell. Was this a good deal, or is this just like, oh, like,
Well, by
It was a good
virtue of comparison, I can tell you that, we sold Elba, we sold Hadley, we sold Seton in my time here as soup, and I don't think we got any more than $150,000 for any of those.
wow, okay, this is great. All right, well, good to know, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll head into action items. We have our consent grouping, approval of the board minutes of July 17, 2026.
I make a motion, oh,
Sorry, just want to make sure any consent group items anyone wishes to be removed. Okay, now I'll take a motion.
Go
Go
for
for
it, you
it.
started it.
okay.
All right.
Just checking. All right, I make a motion that reading of the minutes be waived and the consent agenda items be approved as presented.
Okay, I have a motion and a support. Mr. Lefkow?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Mrs. LeVar?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mr. Van Wagner?
Aye.
Ms. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Okay, that concludes our action items, so open it up to any board member communications.
Summer's ending. Not even the summer.
But school's starting.
Summer's fine.
Yeah.
Summer's fine, right?
Thank
Summer.
goodness. Anyone?
Good.
So we have school starting soon, right?
24.
I'll give you an update on all that stuff.
And it's already started.
Oh, that's right, turn on.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, churros already in session. Seeing a lot of great activity from them. Okay, I'll turn it over to you, Superintendent Wonder.
Thank you, Madam President. Two short updates to share with the board relative to bond and back to school activities. Bond update, the water main replacement project is nearing completion. The electrical company will be on site tomorrow to deal with the grid and lighting issues. Ceiling tiles have been replaced. All of the new water main has been wrapped and insulated pending inspection. We have the pavilion at Roland Warner. That concrete pad has been poured, grass is growing, the pavilion itself, the structure is set for delivery. That once it arrives, it will take a day or two at most to put together and assemble. We're pretty excited about that, so that outdoor learning space will be available for this coming school year. Both new fencing at the bus garage, which if you've not seen the fencing around the bus garage, do us a favor and drive by, it's a mess. And a new south parking lot renovations and repaving projects will both be heading out for bid this September. The fencing will probably be completed this year. Our hope is to get the new fencing around the bus garage completed this year. As you're already aware, the new south parking lot paving project will be set for next summer. So we have one more year with the existing south parking lot. This year, both the new north lot and the bus loop and the repaving of the existing north lot were completed this past off season. And the site to wrap up the bond project for next year will be that south parking lot.
And that's at the high school, right?
At high school.
Okay, because I know that there was some paving going on today at the high school.
They're just patching.
They were just patching, okay.
Back to school activities, as you know, as has been mentioned, Truro has begun. Things are up and running in our year-round program, which is going well there. Admin and a number of other staff report next week for some PDs and some back to school trainings. August 19th is opening day for staff, so I want to formally invite the board to attend those activities if you're available. We begin at the high school on August 19th at 7 a.m. for breakfast with all staff who are attending in the cafeteria. And then we will be moving for the first time ever to the brand new Performing Arts Center for our opening day presentation by yours truly. And then staff divides up according to grade level and department following the 7:30 to 8:30 opening day staff message. So some staff will be returning to other buildings and some staff will be remaining in the high school. August 24th will be our first day of school. So So a great day for board members to travel to your building partnership schools and greet kids and staff and parents as they return. Coal will be divided up amongst the buildings as we always do to help welcome all of our students and staff and parents back on that first day. It's always a great day. So we're excited. You know, obviously, anytime you have a major bond project like no water available in a very large building for a majority of the summer, it's always a nerve-wracking thing. Make sure that things are up and running, but the water's back on. A lot of staff in the building cleaning. Late summer cleaning is being wrapped up at the high school. And so we're excited for opening day. We think we'll be ready to rock and roll.
Awesome.
That concludes my comments.
Thank you, Superintendent Laundrie. With that, I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Okay. Mr. Lundgaard.
Aye.
Mr. Watson.
Aye.
Mrs. LeBlanc.
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter.
Aye.
Mr. Van Hoen.
Aye.
Ms. Putnam says aye. Meeting adjourned.